Yo, what's good, boys? How we doing, man?
You all good.
How's everyone's week been?
Not too shabby. Not too shabby. I actually went up to see Ocean like what day was it? Monday.
Yeah.
Monday, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, did you have a session?
Yeah, I just made a couple beats and stuff. Went to this
Yeah,
Brazilian restaurant. Mate, it's ridiculous.
banging.
Never
Sick.
seen so much meat in my life.
Pause.
Oh shit.
So,
Oh fuck's sake.
what a way to start the podcast.
You gotta start it right on that line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you go to the other
Oh,
session with
fucking.
Jack and everyone too?
But yeah, mate, it was so funny. um so we did the filming and everything. And then, because just since everywhere, there's like all these effects, like
Mm.
compressors. He's got the guy's got like all the hardware, like all the classic hardware
Yeah.
and synths and stuff. And they're all hooked up to one line, so you can just play everything all at once. And
Sick.
there's this fucking drum machine that just kicked out like a house loop, and you could
Right.
make it do like snare rolls and make it do like kick roll, yeah, anything. And yeah, Jack kept fucking about on there, and then Seven Inc just jumped on the Mellotron, and started playing this terrible like melody. It was just
Is that
completely out
the
of
reel that
key.
you posted?
Yeah, so we did that, and then we even
Oh, funny.
filmed like I've got it on my laptop. We filmed with all the cameras. I was doing like a piss take mashup of like it's completely out of key. I'll send you after the after the pod, but yeah, it was the most unprofessional session I've ever done. I bet the guy who run it was like just outside the studio, like sat down just watching TV. So
Yeah.
I don't know if he heard it
I
or
bet he
not,
was
but
thinking,
yeah,
what
he's
is going
probably
on?
yeah. Honestly, man, it was ridiculous. But it was good though.
Where was the studio? Was it in London?
Yeah, it was down in like Tooting, it's like South London,
Right.
and it was really you'd never know where it was. It's kind of like signature, like it's not marked or anything. You have to
Yeah.
go down like the side of a Halfords, and then it's like a little, like just like a little entrance. But the place
Right.
was amazing. Yeah,
Is
the
it just
place
one
was
that you can
crazy.
rent by the hour? Or do you have to kind of know the
Yeah,
guy? Is it open to anyone?
I guess it's open to anyone. I guess the guy it seems more private. Like the guy will do his
Mm.
homework on you. But yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty much open. Like anyone could book it, and it was really like really well priced as well. To be fair, like
Yeah.
for what's in there, like honestly, I've never seen so many like synths in one space. Even had the I think it's called the grandmother or something. The
Okay.
Yamaha. It's like a $50,000 synth because they only made like a certain amount of them, and they
Oh, that's crazy.
yeah. I was speaking to Seven about it. I was like, why is it so expensive? Because it didn't seem any like different to the others, and he was like, oh, they only made like I don't know, like 500 of them or something, and
Mm.
this one could have been used by some like Michael Jackson or Stevie Wonder or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of yeah, it
Oh,
was really
sick.
weird, but it was a sick session.
I haven't really tapped into synths too much. Like, obviously, I've used my Polybrew and a couple others. Like, obviously, we've used the ones at Oceans, but I've never really got into the synth world fully. I feel like it's just a whole nother world, man. And
Mm,
once you start exploring it, you just go down a proper rabbit hole, don't you? Like,
yeah.
even the like connecting them up just sounds like stress because just connecting this Polybrew, it's like two cables into the interface and then plugging into the mains. But then once you've got 10, that's like you've got so many cables running around. I couldn't imagine how to set everything up like that. Was yours stressed to set up Ocean?
Yeah, initially, I had so many. I've gotten rid of quite a few to be honest now, but I used
Yeah.
to do this method where like you'd have to patch it in. So sometimes you
Mm,
couldn't use them all at the same time because it was like patched into different inputs. But because
right.
I use only three consistently, I can plug it all into my interface so I can play them all at once. They're always connected. So it's all right now.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I feel like that's
Yeah,
how it would need to be.
I got rid of the Triton, I got rid of the Mellotron, I got rid
Mm.
of like one of the acoustic pianos I had. My Juno's broken, so that's kind of just chilling on the side. But low
Yeah, I remember you
key,
saying you were getting rid of a
we want to
few.
get another one.
Oh, you want to swap them? I thought you were trying to strip back.
I was trying to strip back, but then I saw the Moog, and I'm like, ooh,
The Moog is so nice.
that's sounding very, very nice. You know the Moog, I think it's the
Yeah.
Moog 10. It's really big and
Yeah,
chunky, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like
Robin had a
10K,
Moog when
so
we went
I'll
when I
wait
went
for another
to
one.
Amsterdam. It was sick. It's nice for basses.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah. There was one at the studio as well. That was like the go-to one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
do want
sounds
to get
Yeah.
crazy.
into some hardware stuff though. Even like the MPC looks really cool. I've been seeing people create on
Mm.
that, and that it looks
Mm.
fun. It looks
Yeah,
like a different way
a
of
lot of people
creating.
are creating with that again now. Like the newer ones. I've seen quite a few people doing it.
Mm.
I did the video with Jack where we used one. Like the newer version, not the old school
Yeah.
MPC. But I guess it's just a different
Hmm.
workflow. Like when we used it, it was kind of stressful because you get so used to your DAW and you don't know all the shortcuts and everything. So even just trying to do something simple, like it took us forever to make a beat on there. Just figuring out like
Hmm.
all the shortcuts and how to navigate it. But then once you actually get into the flow of it, it's quite fun to use. It's just more like hands-on, isn't it? Rather than just clicking drums in. You get a different groove, I feel like, when you're
Yeah.
actually using your hands.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's more. I guess it feels more. Yeah, it's more fun, isn't it? It's like more tactile. Like you're actually making the rhythm. I guess like playing it. Yeah,
Yeah,
Zaytoven
definitely.
used to do that
I've
as well,
got the,
didn't he?
the
Like
Native
I used to
Instruments
when I
one
was.
behind me.
Oh,
Oh
the
yeah,
machine.
machine one. Yeah.
Yeah, the machine, but I haven't really used it properly. I was going to use it for a video and then same thing, like because I didn't know how to use it, it was taking too long to actually try and cook up a beat and have the screen recording and everything going at the same time. Like setting up the camera and then getting the audio to your computer, and because I didn't know how to use it, it was just taking forever. So I was like, man, let me just go back to FL, open it up. So it's just
I hear
sitting there
that.
collecting
Yeah.
dust at the moment.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Yeah, I used to watch Zaytoven do his like. I don't know if he still does it, but he used to post like just cook up videos, just him in his home studio, and he'd
Mm.
literally every single beat he'd. I don't think he'd ever like touch his laptop. He'd just be playing on the keys, and then he'd like scoot over to his MPC and then start like programming the drums. Just like it just looked
Yeah.
like a way more like satisfying process, I guess, like to cook up.
Some people are sick on it as well. Have you seen oh, what's he called? He might be called Jay Black, but I could be getting that wrong. He's like a proper finger drummer.
Oh, on
It's like
Instagram.
when you
I
see his
think I've seen his
videos,
Yeah,
yeah,
videos. Yeah.
like he's
yeah,
just
he's
rapid
crazy.
with it, and that looks sick. But I
Yeah,
feel like that's
yeah,
all he cooks up with. He's not really using like FL Studio and stuff. That's just his main
Hmm.
like go-to thing. So you would get used
mm,
to it over time. But when you see someone like
yeah,
that, it's like, yo, that's crazy.
Hmm.
yeah, definitely. It's like when we was working with Al Hug, like just watching him do everything manually, and then we come back and we're just like fucking clicking chords in still, like stop, start, stop, start,
I
stop,
know.
start. And he's just doing it all in like one take. It's like fuck.
Yeah, you almost feel like you're not a proper producer after you see someone like that work, but everyone's
Yeah,
just got a different workflow, I guess, don't they?
yeah, yeah, pretty much,
You don't have
pretty
to be
much.
sick on instruments or anything, I guess.
Nah.
Yeah, it'd be nice though, I guess. Like I always think like
Oh, of
fuck, I really
course.
wish I could just play this live, but
Yeah,
yeah,
every
it
now and
just
again
takes
I
like
think,
so much
right, I
time
really
to
need
really
to learn
learn.
piano properly. Because when you do watch someone who can just play it in, instead of like drawing out the chords and stuff, it just looks like your workflow would be so much smoother. But
Mm.
You used to take lessons, right? Do you still do them at all?
no, so I took them up until about like grade one, just basic stuff. When I started, I just wanted to
Hmm.
learn the basics, like chords, scales, because I didn't know anything about it before. I was just clicking notes in and just kind of hoping for the best. So I just wanted to understand
Hmm.
a bit about pianos. But the teacher that I had, she was very like classical. So a lot of the stuff I was doing was sight reading, playing classical pieces and things like that. So then when I tried
Yeah.
to introduce her to FL Studio and I was showing her what I was doing, and because she didn't know how to use it at all, it just felt like the lessons that we were doing, we were kind of like repeating similar stuff and it was kind of slow. And I didn't really want to
Hmm.
continue like sight reading and stuff like that because I didn't feel I could really need it. It was helpful though. Like it definitely helped me like play chord progressions and counter melodies and understand scales and everything. So it was well worth it. But
Hmm.
yeah, I feel like maybe it would have been better to have maybe someone who took more of a jazzy approach and like actually
Mm.
playing progressions rather than just reading off a sheet of music and then just playing that piece, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I did piano lessons up until about grade 5,
Did
and
you?
it's kind of similar as well. Like it's it's good to know a bit of sight reading and reading notes on a thing can be useful, I guess, but it
Yeah.
wasn't very creative. Like it didn't really teach me how
Mm.
to be creative and play my own stuff. But then a producer, Eli Brown, I don't know if you guys know him,
Yeah,
but he
Rings
yeah.
a bell.
showed me this course. It was like a gospel course, a guy who does gospel music. He was
Mm.
teaching you how to play the piano, basically, but it was not with music theory in the sense of like notes on a whatever that music thing is called. I can't even remember.
A
Like the
score
sheet
sheet or
music.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like the
yeah, sheet
scores.
music. It wasn't like that. It was more like the number system and like the first chord, the
Oh,
second
okay.
chord, the third chord within a scale,
Mm.
and then just messing around with that, which was way more intuitive. It was more helpful in terms of creativity.
Mm.
But I feel like it's a thing where when you don't keep it up, you just lose it. Like,
Yeah, it goes
Yeah,
so
my
quickly.
100%.
technique for playing piano is okay, but actually sitting down and playing the piano, I kind of lost it again. I have to really spend a couple
Yeah.
hours a day for a while, and then I'll get it back. Same thing with guitar, man. As soon as you
Mm.
stop being consistent with it, it's there, but it's like very, very rusty. You have to like spend hours dusting off the cobwebs to get back to where you was, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Can you remember the name of the course or the guy?
Um, nah, I wish I could. It was all I know was like a gospel one, and it was a black
Right.
guy from the US. Um,
Right.
Is he on
I,
YouTube?
he might be on YouTube. It might even be just something like gospel music, piano
Yeah, I
gospel
think I
Mm.
might
music,
have seen
something
his
very basic
tutorials.
like that.
He's got like dreadlocks. I think he's got dreadlocks. Well, that's the guy I've seen
Nah,
anyway. Oh,
I've got it
okay.
on my computer. I can find it later and show you guys.
Mm.
But yeah,
Yeah, I
it
won't
was a
mind
good
taking a course
approach.
like
It was
that
a good
again.
approach.
Yeah,
Hmm.
definitely. Do you feel like
Mm.
do you feel like we should know how to play something as a music producer? Do you feel
I
like it
think
just
it can
doesn't
only
matter?
help. It can only help. It's not going to hinder you in any way, but
Yeah.
you don't have to. Do you know what I mean? The
Yeah.
Yeah.
technology is quite advanced enough where you can just pencil in and figure it out and use samples, use accents, and all those kind of things, one shots to make something really creative. So I don't think it's
Yeah.
100% necessary, but there's no harm in not knowing it. Do you know what I mean? If you can play
Hmm.
the piano, it's only just going to make you a more well-rounded producer, especially in sessions. If you're playing, if you
Mhm.
can,
Yeah.
if someone can tell you, "Oh, can you make me something like this?" and you can just play it out within 10 seconds, you can be
Yeah,
valuable in that way.
100%. Yeah, because when you're in a session, it's like I don't know. Yeah, I feel like you have to kind of move a bit quicker than what you would if it's just like you're in a session with other producers. Like they just
Hmm.
want to hear what they want to hear. So yeah, if you can just play it like on guitar or play it out on the keys, it makes a big difference. It was when like when we had Jason in there, like how quickly like we put everything down. Like we literally put the whole beat together in like 10, 15 minutes, and then after that, like Maxime was just right, like the Busker guys. Maxime was just writing the whole thing. Whereas, like, if we were to play it, we would have been sat there. Right, let's get one chord in,
Yeah.
pause it, punch back in, and then we have to kind of like glue it together. It would have taken about half an hour, 45
Mm.
minutes. But yeah, it just helps for speed, I guess.
And but I do think producers should at least learn like the basics of music theory because that definitely helps. Just like knowing what
Mm,
scale something is in or what chords would work when you hear this first chord or whatever. Little things like that will help.
yeah,
Yeah, I think so
yeah,
too.
definitely.
I guess that's why
But
even the
as you
top
said,
producers just use session musicians as well, though. You know,
yeah,
like
just play to your
everybody has a
strengths,
certain
innit?
role to play. 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah, play to your strengths. There's session musicians, they've been learning that instrument for usually a very, very long time. So for you to even try and be as good as them, it's gonna be tough. Do you know what I mean? Like I could play
yeah.
the guitar, but Jason will do 100 times better job than me. So it's better I just use him.
Yeah, 100%. It's like with Timbaland. I didn't really realize how many session musicians like Timbaland would use. Though I saw this interview with this not guitar player, like a keyboard player, and he was talking about how he played the riff for Cry Me a River. He was like da, da, da,
Mm.
da, da, da,
Mm.
like so he's no like back ends with any of the songs that he was making. He was just
Mm.
there to get paid, do a job. So did his
Mm.
job and then didn't realize how big the song was going to be, and then it went fucking
That's
crazy.
crazy.
So he got nothing on the back end, but he said like, yeah, like people like them, like the big guys, they just work smarter. So they'll have him come in, they'll have vocalists come in, they'll have guitar play, just everyone. Like they don't need to really even do a lot. Not even, and they don't even have to do a lot in terms of using their DAW. They'll have some other guy, like another producer in there, or like
Yeah.
beat maker in there doing all the like the technical stuff. I guess it's just them like hearing what they want to hear, and then making it a reality. I guess.
A lot of people do that with loops as well. Like I've done it before for certain loops where I've just had someone, like I played violin, like I've drawn some notes in, but then I've just had an actual violinist record that in for the loop instead of the one that I did. And a lot
Yeah.
of them will just work on a, like a flat fee basis, and then you can use those loops to send out to other people. But I could see that getting frustrating for session musicians if something like that happens, if a song does go big and then they're not getting anything for it. But it's the same with like selling royalty-free loop kits as well. Like we might be happy just taking that $30 up front for the kit, and then if one of the song goes big, it's like, well, I agreed to sell it at that price, so what can I do now?
It's your right. It's your terms, I guess. At the end of the day, like you should come in with your own terms. Yeah.
Definitely. When you guys are building melodies, because when you learn music theory, you obviously learn like certain chord progressions that work well together. Like obviously, like the 1/5 always just sounds good and catchy. When you're building melodies, are you guys thinking of progressions like every time, where it's like you'll draw out one chord and then it's like, all right, I know this chord works after this, I'm just gonna go to that, or do you just click things in and then, all right, I don't even know what the chord is, but it sounds good, so I'm just rolling with that?
There you go.
The second one for me. I don't some like it's rarely that I go in thinking of the music theory like, okay, I'm gonna try the F minor scale and play these chords. It's usually just very my way of creating music is very intuitive and feeling. I just go with the flow kind of thing, and whatever happens happens. I don't really try and be too strategic about it.
Yeah, I hear you. How about you?
Yeah, kind of like a mix of both really. Just depends. Like if I know what I want to make, then I'll kind of like already have the chords in mind, or like I'll hear a song and like, oh, that sounds sick. What are like the bass notes, and I'll just figure out the rest from there. Just because like that gives you the feeling, and you already know what you already know how to get the feeling at that point. But yeah, like say sometimes I'll even start with the chords, or I'll just start with like a top melody, and then try different chords underneath it and just see what sounds the best and just rock with that. So yeah, it's different. It's different every time. It just depends.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm probably similar to that, really. I do find myself using the same chords a lot, though. And I think that's because I learned theory and like certain chord progressions. So then in my head, I just kind of know they're going to work. Especially if I do that, especially actually if I'm in a session and, if it's like if I'm at home just chilling by myself, it's like I've got a bit more time to make mistakes. Or if it sounds weird at first, I don't really mind. But when you're cooking up with people, sometimes you don't want it to sound weird straight away. So in your head, it's just like, right, I'm going to use these chords because I know it's going to sound good. But it's probably not the best thing to do because it kind of does hinder your creativity a bit.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
In some ways.
Kind of like
it's good. It's not too bad though, because I mean, in your DAW you can just transpose it, and now it's like a completely different key.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. What would you guys say to I spoke about this in like one of my daily videos about sessions, because I always get, not all the, like I'd say like at least once a week I'll get like a message from a producer saying like, oh, I make beats from like my bedroom, but like I see you do like a lot of sessions, like when's a good time to start doing sessions? And I mean, me personally, I just said just start as soon as possible, because people like get worried, or they're like nervous, or they think they're not good enough for a certain point, or there's always like some reason why they don't think they're like qualified, I guess, to do sessions. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think I agree. I think I'd say just there's never going to be a perfect time to do it. Obviously, if you have a session with someone that you know on a more personal level, it's going to be a bit easier, because even just going back to what I was saying before about being experimental with melodies around new people, you don't want it to sound weird at first, because you might be thinking, oh, they're thinking I'm making a shit beat. You know what I mean? But obviously, if you have a session with someone you're comfortable with, that might be a good way to start it. But for people that don't really have those relationships, yeah, I'd say just get in as soon as you can, because it's one of those experiences that you're only going to get better at by doing it. So there's never going to be a perfect time. Obviously, you want to be somewhat of a, you need to know how to make a good beat, obviously. But then again, good
Yeah.
is subjective. But it's like, all right, I've just started producing today. Who wants a session? You know what I mean? Maybe that's a bit
Yeah.
unrealistic.
Yeah,
But
I just need to
at
learn
least
FL
be able
Studio
to,
first.
yeah, actually learn it first and kind of know what you're doing. But I'd say the sooner you could get into a session, the better, because those are just experiences you can't those you just can't develop that skill at home being by yourself. You have to actually get out your house and get
Mm.
uncomfortable to grow from that. So I'd say the sooner the better, really.
Yeah. How about you,
Yeah, for
Ocean?
sure. Yeah, pretty much the same. I think the more you do, the more you're just gonna adapt and be comfortable in those situations anyway. So there's no
Yeah.
rules. Just, just honestly, in my opinion, just dive in. Just
Yeah.
dive in,
What's the
whatever,
worst that can
and
happen?
just be kind to yourself with expectations. If you are kind of like new to beat making, maybe the songs are not gonna come out as amazing as you think, maybe, but maybe they will, but most likely
Mm.
not, right? So, but I think, yeah, just get some experience under your belt and
Hmm.
go for it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
All right, I got a good one. I got a good one. We'll start with the worst. What's like the worst? You know, we don't have to drop names or anything, but like, what's the shittest
Uh-oh.
session that you think you guys have had? Like the worst one you've had?
In terms of like our performance as producers or the worst session in general?
I guess both. I guess we'll just do both. Why not?
Hmm. My worst, my session, it arguably the worst because I still think we made a good song, but I just really didn't enjoy the session.
Okay.
Was I can't say this guy's name, but
Was I there?
no, you wasn't there for this one.
Okay. All right.
Um, if he hears it, he'll probably know. But basically, let's say the session is for 12. I can't really remember, but we booked it for 12. They're late as usual. Then at 2 p.m., the manager messages and says, "Yeah, he's coming. The artist is on his way. There's some guys outside. Can you let him in?" So I'm thinking the guys outside might be them, like the artist, but it
Oh
was
yeah.
just some random dudes that came from Canada that day.
Yeah.
And then I let him into the studio, so it's just me and these random dudes. And I'm like, "Oh, so do you know the artist?" And they're like, "No, we've never met him. We just got off the plane." So I'm thinking like, who are these guys then? Like, I thought you were with them, but they weren't. They were just like, "Yeah, we're just here to meet him." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then waiting a couple more hours, manager turns up. So it's now me, the manager, these random dudes. And the manager says, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, it's gonna be like 5 minutes." Half an hour passes. Yeah, yeah, he's just finding parking. Half an hour parking
Oh my
is gone
god.
past. Yeah, yeah, he's on his way. He's just in traffic. Long, basically like 5 or 6 hours late. So by that time, I don't know, when people are late like that, I'm kind of over it.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
don't really feel like I'm looking forward to the session as much as I was before. But I'm just chilling, making a couple beats, and then finally the artist pulls up. Um, he was okay, but like the people he was with, he brought more people were just like kind of bad vibes. Not really saying much, just being kind of hostile. And then I
Mm.
play him some beats, play him loads of beats. He wasn't really feeling much. Then he finally felt one, pulled it up, literally in the mic. He's just like, "Mm, mm," and I'm like, I think I looked at my manager. I looked at Ez. I'm like for real.
Oh my
And
god.
then he must have mumbled like a couple stuff, and he's like, all right, pull up the next one. And then pulled up the next one, and again he was just like, like whispering into the mic, kind of moaning. And then
So
I'm just like,
weird.
man, it's gonna be a long one. Then finally we landed on one, and he did a good job. I can't lie, the music came out all right, but the process was kind of strange. He
Yeah,
he would
that
like
sounds so
really
bizarre,
mumble,
man.
and I'd have to really like engineer it to get it sounding good.
Yeah.
And then yeah, just made a full on mess in the studio, weed ash
Oh,
everywhere.
Fuck,
The
man,
only
that's
good thing is
brutal.
that he bought everyone pizza, so that kind of lightened the mood, I guess. But yeah, it was just like a long and kind of weird one where I don't know, man. A bit disrespectful, but at the same time, at least we got a good song out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it, I guess. No, that's
I feel
that's
like that would be the thing
disgusting.
I hate the most because obviously because I'm just cooking up from home, I don't invite many people over. But if I had a separate studio, I feel like that's the thing that would annoy me the most, like people being disrespectful in there and just
Mm,
leaving shit everywhere or fucking spilling drinks, that type of thing. Just not being not being conscious of where they are.
But
yeah,
I think it's
yeah,
also just like a communication thing. Like, if you're gonna be late, just say you're gonna be late, rather than
Yeah,
tell me you're parking 5 minutes. And if
yeah,
you've
yeah,
got
exactly.
random people pulling up that you don't know, just tell me. Like, it's fine, but just let me know, innit? Like,
Of course.
it's kind of I didn't know who any of these guys were. And we're just like waiting for the main artist to come through. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I think I know
yeah,
who
that's
that
mad.
is.
I
Yeah,
haven't had like many terrible experiences. I've had sessions where it's just been like kind of boring, where I've not really vibed with the person right, and I've just been sat there flicking through beats for a long time,
hmm,
and then similar stuff when it's come to recording, it's like we've taken 3 hours just to get a verse down, and then it's like, yeah, we'll just have to finish it another session. So we don't even. I think I was in this
yeah,
session for
Mm.
like 5 hours, and we got like a verse down, if that, and then I had to do another session with him to finish it, which was even longer just to finish the track, and then it didn't end up coming out anyway. I didn't really like get along with the guy. Well, we could speak, but it wasn't like some people you just click with and you
Mm.
can properly chat with. It wasn't like
yeah,
that. So that's probably like the worst experience. But it's not like you came in and trashed my house or anything, so it wasn't too bad.
yeah, yeah. I hear you, man. I do feel like it's on both people in it to like create the vibe because sometimes you do get people come through and they just like just don't speak. They're so like I don't know. They just
Yeah,
keep like super
Yeah,
reserved
keep to
and
themselves and stuff.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
I
I've
guess
Yeah,
as
I
definitely
don't
had
know.
producers,
that
it's
as
kind of
well.
our job to bring them out the shell. But then at the same
Yeah,
time, it's like there's only
definitely.
so much you can do.
Yeah.
I had a guy who wasn't an artist who wasn't really he wasn't communicating. He would communicate through his manager. So it was him and
Mm.
his manager that came to the session, and like he'll tell his manager, "Oh, no, not this one." So his manager would then tell me, "No, not this one," even though we're kind of
Then
in the
you're
same
right there.
room. But he
Like
wouldn't
a
like,
translator.
yeah, that the artist wouldn't really talk to me or open up to me. He would only open up to his manager, and then his manager
Mm.
would be the one like being more communicative. So those kind of
Mm.
times, I guess you kind of just have to adapt to it a bit. That's the
Yeah,
thing
it's
you learn
different every
about being
time.
in sessions. You'll just learn how to deal with people and figure out a way to make them comfortable, but also get the best out of them for the song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I'm
that's the
curious
key.
to hear what your one is, LB.
I mean, you probably know it, but there was a there was a session. Oh, it's between two actually. It's probably between two, but one of them was standard, like similar to your one, like turned up late, and then I think it was about a couple hours late. So we were just kind of, I don't know, just sat, just waiting because we would normally, I'd normally we'd look the artists up and then see what kind of music they've been on recently, and then we'll just try and make a few beats and kind of prep for them. And then he turned up. He finally turned up, and then was like, "Oh yeah, it's been a mad one today, whatever." And yeah, got the niceties out the way, and then he's like, "Hi, what's your process and stuff?" He's like, "I don't really know. Like, I don't really know what process." Like, okay, all right, should we just run through some beats? So I was like, he's like, "Yeah, sure." Ran through some beats. Spent about half an hour, 45 minutes running through beats. Didn't like, wasn't feeling them. Like, oh, he wasn't saying anything. Like, he wasn't reacting. He wasn't even saying like, "Oh, nah, next." He was just not saying anything. So it was like, all right, feeling any of these? He's like, no, no. Well, let's start from scratch. We'll start from scratch. So we started from scratch, started making a beat, and then we got to like, right to the end, and
Okay.
then he was like, nah, nah, scrap this. Let's start a new one. I was like, all right. So we started a new one, started a fresh one, and then yeah, got towards the end of that one, and he was like, yeah, I'll try something on this one. Oh, we might have even had to start again. I can't remember, but he finally started feeling one, and then he started like sort of mumbling some stuff, started mumbling some lyrics and stuff, and then so at this point it's been like 3 or 4 hours, 5 hours deep into a session, and he finally he starts like mumbling the top line. We record the top line, literally one take, one take at it, and then he's like, "Do you know what, lads? I'm not feeling it today. Like I might have to just like dip and then come back
I
another
think
day."
I remember which one, but you know what happened? He
Mm.
got really high.
Oh,
Remember,
that's right. Yeah, he was
he
smoking,
got
wasn't he? Yeah.
super high to the point where I
Mm.
feel like he was getting a bit paranoid
Yeah.
because he was
Yeah,
like, "Oh
that's
man,
true.
like I can't actually take it. Like I need to go home like right now."
Yeah, yeah. It was
And then
very
it's
like
like,
sudden, wasn't it? It was very
yeah,
like,
it was very like it hit him, and then yeah, he couldn't. It was almost like he paralyzed himself or something. Like he just
yeah,
like, oh no, I'll go kind of thing. Like he freaked out a
yeah.
bit.
He was saying like his whole routine was off. Like he's like, "Oh no, I normally like to write in the car and then come back and then do X, Y, Z." And was like, he's like, "Oh, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine, man." So yeah, he dipped. So that was one, but I don't think it was necessarily like him doing it consistently. I think it was just a one of them times where it did just hit, like the weed just hit him, and he was like, "Shit, I need to just get out of here," because I've heard like he's been decent in other sessions, so it might have just been a bad day. But yeah, there was that one, and then there was another one where again turned up late. There was loads of people in the studio, and they were all smoking, and so it was like a hot box. It was like sort of middle of back end of summer, so it was still fairly warm out. So you just couldn't get away from the smell, and they brought in like ice and
Oh
whiskey and
yeah,
mixers, and there was no freezer, so the ice was just melting all over the floor, and everyone had shoes on, so it was all like puddles of like muddy water all over the
Oh,
floor, and it was such a mess. And we were sleeping there as well afterwards, and yeah, we didn't finish until like gone past midnight, and it was just like a sticky night, just like a messy
and
night. But
and
the
all
song,
his
the music
friends
was good
wanted
though.
to jump on the track as well. Remember, like
Yeah, yeah,
he
everyone was
kept on
like,
adding. I would turn around and there'll be a new guy that come through the door to the point where there was
yeah,
probably like 10 to 12 of us. But to
yeah.
be fair, like we made some bangers in that session. We made like
Yeah, I
some
was gonna
really
say
good
the music
songs.
was sick in that one. Like it was a good vibe. It was
But
just
then
it's just a bit messy to clean up.
their friends kept on. The friends would hear the beat, and he's like, you know what? I can do something. Let me jump on. Let me jump on real quick. And then like maybe one of the two friends wasn't good, but then one of the friends was fucking sick. Do you remember? His
What?
voice was
Yeah, it
incredible.
was
He jumped on with
literally.
me and LP looked at each other like, yo, this guy is actually hard.
He was fucking sick. He literally sounded like Pop Smoke in the voice, but had like a real
mm.
fast flow. But it just sounded like so sick on all the beats we was playing.
Any of these songs come out?
Nope.
Nope, none of them.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
Still might.
There's one track from that specific session. If it doesn't get released, I'd love to release it as like one of my own songs because I really, really, really like one of the songs that came from there.
Yeah, have you boys thought about reaching out to artists after these sessions? If they haven't used them for a while, if there was one like that you really like, have you thought about reaching out and saying like, could you drop it as your single with them? Because
I
then it
haven't
kind of
done
puts
that yet,
pressure off them.
but I definitely, it's definitely something I want to do. But I have a feeling that some of them might charge for verses just because of where they're at in their career. It has no
Mm.
benefit really for them to release with me, like
Right.
brand wise. So I probably would have to
Got
like
ya.
pay them for the feature or whatnot. Which
Would
it
you
might
would you
get
guys be open
expensive
to that?
now.
I see people
Definitely.
talking about this, but would you be open to paying someone for a verse?
Definitely, 100%. Because some of,
Yeah,
like I said,
definitely.
some of those songs that we got, I think are really, really good songs, and it'd be
Mhm.
nice to
Mm.
have them out. And I get it, man. If they're a big name, they want to be
Yeah.
compensated. Fair enough. Do you know what I mean? If they want to
Yeah,
release the beat, then I would want to get paid for it. So
yeah,
yeah, I'll do it. Just depending
I
on what the
suppose.
numbers are, innit?
Yeah,
yeah.
and if it would be worth it. But the thing is as well, because I've actually had conversations with like big artists where they've when I've just been talking about collaborating, and then they've tried to put a price in it and said, well, I want this much for a verse, and I've thought about it, and then I've been like, well, all right, it might be good to have under my credits, but then would they push the song as well? Because if I just push the song and they don't, then I'm not really tapping into their audience anyway. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
I thought, all right, maybe if they're making a post about it and putting it on the story and helping with the marketing in some way, then it could be worth it. But if it's just like, right, I'm going to give you this verse and that's it, there's not going to be anything from me after this, then I don't know if it fully is worth it.
But
Depending on how
then
much
it
you pay anyway.
it becomes sticky because I've also spoken to a rapper, right? And he signed to a label and he paid for a feature from a verse from quite a well established artist.
Right.
And within the deal was that he gets this big lump sum, but then also he needs to promote it and stuff. They
Mm-hmm.
dropped the song and he didn't promote it. And even though the contracts and stuff are in place, if he doesn't want to promote it, then he just doesn't promote it, and that's kind of that. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just don't know if there's any way you can even force someone's hand. Do you know what I'm trying to say? If they don't want to promote it, then they just don't promote it.
I guess
Yeah.
you need the resources to like take them to court if that's the case. But that's the only other thing. That's the only thing I can think of.
Or it could be a situation of, all right, let me give you 50% now, and then when the song drops and you've pushed it, you get the other 50%.
Yeah, that might be
Yeah.
smarter.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Because if you pay
to be
someone
fair,
and then
it
6
is a good
months later it
strategy.
comes out, there's no urgency then.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, that's true. It is a good strategy. I've heard other yeah I've known producers. Do you know 8 Beats?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Think
he
so.
yeah, I had a session with him fairly recent, and he was saying like that was his main thing when he first started dropping his own music. Like, yeah, he'd pay for this, basically just pay for a song to be made with his beats, and
Mm.
then just drop it under his own name, and then he just kind of lapped up all the streams. And there was something he said about like how there was a way he was doing it that was like making them bang and making them like land on playlists. But I wish I could remember what he said, but yeah, it's not coming to me. But yeah, he was that was his strategy for like a good few years, just paying for artists to jump on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not against it at all. I think it could be a good method, especially if you've got the money there. Maybe if it's like your last £1,000 and that's all you have, then maybe it's not the best. But I feel like if you want to spend some money and there's an opportunity like that, it could be worth it.
But I
Because
think
money
it
talks in a lot of ways, man. And it could even be the
Hmm.
thing that opens up a long-term conversation or relationship with that person. Because once you've paid them once, they might be really fucking with that beat. And then the
Mhm.
song could do
Yeah,
well. And then they might be like, you know what, this producer's kind of cool, man. Like, have you got any more beats? Send me some more. Like, you never know.
you never know. Yeah,
For sure. I think also like it might depend on your brand a little bit as well, because
Mm.
like let's say if you're just getting into this and you pay for like 150 bags for a Lil Baby verse. I don't know if you're looking at this as like a pure business aspect, you might not recoup the song
Yeah.
cost, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, but if you're a bit more established, maybe like a Take Keith pays for a Lil Baby verse for his project, it might stand a little bit
Mm-hmm.
better. Do you know what I mean? So it really
mm.
just
Yeah,
depends.
definitely.
I think it just comes down to like negotiation, who with, and also like how well do you believe in the song, you know?
Yeah. I guess you
Yeah.
gotta know who you want. It's like exactly who you want on it. You don't just want to aimlessly find an artist just for the sake of it, and then yeah, just kind of you gotta know the direction of it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But
The
that's
artist I was speaking
definitely.
to about it, I've been a fan of this guy for years, man. Like, he's big in America. But when he gave me his fee, that was for a pre-recorded verse as well. So I didn't know if he was sending that same verse to other people. So
Mm,
he wasn't even going to be
Mm.
like, all right, send me a beat, I'll work on it. He was like, I've
hmm
got this verse, I'll send it you. Do what you want with it. But then if you want him to promote it more, he charged like way more to like make one post or do a story post or whatever. So then with the amount it would have been, I didn't really think it was worth it.
hmm
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what was
Yeah.
happening with that pre-recorded verse as well. I didn't know if then it just wasn't organic in the slightest. Then if he's just sending you something, obviously you could work around that. But then how many other people has he sent that verse to as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Have you
that's it.
seen this video by Patrick CC? He did a video maybe 2 3 years ago, and he would pretend to be a manager or a producer, and he'll hit up artists asking for their
Yeah.
feature price.
No,
Yeah.
I haven't
And
seen that.
in the video, there's rappers that give their feature price, and some were like, I'm like, whoa, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
Some was
Mm.
just crazy prices for like their level.
Can you remember some examples?
I f- ah,
There was some
I,
like not like washed up artists, but like artists that had their prime. I can't
Mm.
remember. Like
I remember
I've
there was
watched that
one
video.
guy, Vic
Huh?
Mensa. I remember Vic Mensa being like one of the more expensive, and Patrick being like he's not worth that kind of money. But
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
Mm.
some other guys that I just really don't remember all the guys that he did.
I
I want,
swear
I
he got
want,
Lil Uzi. Lil Uzi replied at
did
that
he?
time. It was or someone massive that like you would have
Someone
not have thought.
maybe like the Baby or Meg The Stallion, one of these kind of rappers. I just can't remember
Yeah.
who.
Yeah. But the fee wasn't like high, was it? It was like
It was
for that.
reasonable.
Yeah, for the level they were at, it was like it wasn't a lot. It was like maybe like 25K or something, or like 50K, which sounds a lot now, but obviously if you get a
Yeah,
feature from them at that level, it's like big money, I
Was
guess.
it
of
would
course.
like a DJ Khaled kind of project where he basically gets all the artists to come and make a song,
Mm.
like he has the vision and he just brings them on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he's probably playing for some of those features,
Oh,
and he's probably
definitely.
gonna probably have to pay the bag, but arguably you could say it's kind of worth it, no? For
Yeah,
for
it
Yeah.
works for him.
for like his brand, because it's completely taken his, just by like brand association. Do you know what I mean? Being able
Yeah,
to get Jay-Z and Future on a track and then Beyonce on another one, and you know what I mean. So
yeah. I guess it'd be like a similar setup.
it could be positive.
Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know because it's always. I guess it's just different for every artist. But I know Metro was saying like when he works with Travis and Future, the guys that he, all the guys that he always collaborates with, like him and Young Thug and those guys. He says that they never, no actual money gets exchanged either way. It's all just they'll owe each other a song. So like,
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, Future will jump on a song and then it'll be released on Metro's project, and then Future will just hit him up and be like, oh yeah, let's do one for my next project, and then they just do it that way. So
yeah,
I don't know what the back ends are like, but I'm guessing it's just like they just do it on a because it's a close friendship. They're just like, yeah, well, I'll just get you.
yeah.
I've got you for your next project, or
When it just comes down to relationships. I mean, if you've got the relationship, then we don't. Then there's no money that needs to be talked about. Kinda. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Like relationships trump the business a little bit there. Like if I said to an artist that I work with all the time, "Oh, will you make a song with me?" He's probably not gonna say, "Okay, I want 10 bags." Do you know what I mean? Just like
mm
if he says, "Oh, make me 10 beats," I'm not gonna say, "All right, I want 2 Gs for each beat right now."
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I think it's more of like I have no connection to Drake, but I want Drake on my song. I've never spoken to him. He doesn't know me. It doesn't really make business sense for him, so I'm gonna have to pay him. I think that's where like the
hmm
money aspect comes in.
yeah,
Yeah. No, 100%. And my experience with paying not paying an artist, sorry, but I had a placement with an artist, and they asked me like how much I wanted for the beat, so I gave them a fee, and they weren't willing to pay it. So they offered a song in exchange for it. So they said, "All right, well, we'll lower the fee to this, but we'll give you a song in exchange." So I thought, okay, that could be a sick deal actually, because then if I want to put out a project, then I've got a feature from this artist who was quite big as well, and then I can release that
mm.
under my own name. But whether or
Mm,
not he sticks to that is going to be a different story. Because I thought maybe I could
yeah,
save that for if I ever do a collab project. But I don't know, if it's just like me featuring a whole bunch of different artists rather than just one. But I don't think I'm at the right point, right stage in my career to do that yet. But then by the time that happens, I don't know if that artist will still be doing what
Do
he's doing
popping.
now, or if he'll even send that song back that I'm owed. Because it's like,
Mm.
you can't force someone to make it, even though it was in the
Yeah.
contract.
Also,
mm,
you haven't got the song yet. It's just in the like you've just got it
Well,
in the bank.
we had the original song go out, from him
Yeah,
using my
yeah.
beat, but in exchange for that was a song with him. So I've just got that in the bag, yeah. But because I don't really know what to do with it yet, I didn't just want to like drop a random single out of nowhere. I thought that would be a good one to have on a project because he's a big name. But then I don't know when I'm gonna do that project, so maybe it might be
Right.
worth it just putting out a single with him, another
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess just kind of
What do you
take
guys
do
think
it by
about
ear, I guess.
paying producers for collabs? Do you think that could be worth it?
Not for me. Not now. I get it, but not right now. Because like, I mean, you guys know like you get loops sent to you every day. So
Mm.
for us, I guess it doesn't make sense. Oh, I guess it just depends on it. Depends on who the producer is. If it's like a bigger producer, but I don't know. I just think paying producers is it's not as authentic as it makes sense to do it with an artist, but I guess it could make sense with a producer if they're getting regular placements with like the artist you want to work with. Kind of makes sense. I honestly don't know.
I guess at least
I
with the
honestly don't know.
artist, you kind of guaranteed for the song to come out. Because if you're paying that artist to hop on a beat, then you're gonna release that. But if you're paying a
Yeah,
producer, it could be worth it, but there's no
I
guarantees that a
think
placement's gonna happen.
yeah, I think it just depends on what the outcome is expected to be. I personally
Yeah.
wouldn't pay to just collab with a producer for the sake of it, just to
yeah,
Mhm.
have a beat with them. I don't think that provides me with much value. But if Metro told me, pay me this amount and you're definitely going to be on the next album, then of course I'm going to do it because it makes sense
Yeah.
for me. It's going to push my career forward. So really, I'm not closed off to that idea, paying a producer for something, but like it just has to make sense. The
Yeah,
outcome has to be something that I'm happy with.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
guess it has to be legit on both ends because, like, let's say you reach out to that producer and he's never heard your work before, and you're a shit producer, like you've only just started or something, but you just
Mhm.
don't know what you do. You just, oh yeah, I'll pay this producer, and if they agree, it's like it's just not going to work, is it? Because they're just going to receive like some loops that aren't usable. So yeah, I guess it has to work both ways. Like they'll have to check you out first, make sure you're legit, and then obviously you need to make sure they're legit. Just both just do your due diligence. I can't even say it. Due diligence.
Yeah.
And yeah, just make sure you're both safe, and then I guess just go from there. But yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tricky one with that because there aren't any guarantees. 'Cause it's like how many times have you made beats? Like even when you're with an artist and those songs haven't come out, so a producer
Mhm.
could be like, "Yo, I'm in a
Mhm.
session with gigs right now. I'm charging whatever it is for a collab. There's still no
Yeah.
guarantees that his gigs is gonna like those loops. Like you just don't know, do you? So
I'm curious to see people who have paid for collabs and what the outcome has been,
Yeah.
and also like, does paying for a collab influence the producer's decision in really pushing that song versus not? I'm
Yeah,
I'm
I guess
I'm just
maybe.
curious to
I
see
know
what the return on
producers that have
investment is
paid for
basically,
collabs.
because I also know producers that just do that, like, oh, I'm in a session with blah blah blah, $100 a slot, and it's just mainly like a money making move for them rather than anything being legit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it just really depends on the artwork.
Yeah.
that's
It's
true.
a lot of grey area with it, I guess.
Because if I told you today, right, let's think of a producer. Let's think of Taylor Swift's producer. He calls you up.
Mm.
I'm in with Taylor. We got one song. Basically, all I just need is like some trap drums. Do the trap drums, and I'll put you on the album. But you need to pay 150,000 to get on that song. Would you do it?
150K
Yeah.
to get on a Taylor Swift album.
Are you remortgaging the house?
Maybe not 150K.
It
Although
depends.
she's at the top of the charts like a lot, isn't she? She kills it.
I'm
She's
sure,
like,
like
yeah.
you'd probably make. I mean, honestly, I don't really know too much about music industry numbers like that. So I could be just chatting out my ass, but I feel like it'd be super lucrative. It might be like a good business move, no?
It could be a timeless song as well. It could be one of the ones where you're getting a check every month for like the next 20 years or something stupid, you know?
Like she is the
Or
biggest
it could
artist
be
in
an
the world.
album filler that gets skipped.
But you know what? I feel like Taylor
Yeah.
Swift's album fillers are probably humongous as well.
Yeah, well, she's selling out stadiums, man. Like, you're
Mm.
guaranteed at least a small bag, like in return, if it gets
Yeah.
on an album.
I guess you'd
Surely.
want to know what you'd have included, like, because doing the drums on a track, like, you don't know what you're gonna get on the master recording side versus the publishing side. Like, how many other producers are involved in this? Is the feature artists on it? Because you don't know how many times you're gonna be splitting your bag as well.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
guess it completely depends.
It really depends, but I'll say this. I'm on Taylor Swift's last album that was released November, December, like 2.5 months ago. The
Mhm.
smallest song is about 50 million streams. So within a year, she probably
50 million or 15 million.
no 50. So within
50
a
million.
year, she's probably all her songs are gonna at least have 100 million, probably even more.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I'd have to sit down and like work out what the numbers would be depending on like your percentage points. But I feel like you might recoup that money, but at least you could say I've worked with Taylor Swift, which could definitely open up some
Yeah.
That's
doors.
true.
That's true.
hmm
Yeah, that'd be an interesting one to work out percentage wise.
Yeah, and I guess like you'd have to even factor in the sort of like the indirect effect of working with her as well, like how much extra work you'd get because of that one investment.
Yeah, if she's fully feeling those drums and that track, she'll be like, "We did the drums on this track.
You did the
Call
job,
a
yeah.
potion. We've got a session."
Yeah, just say I'll do it, but as long as I'm allowed to put my tag in there
Yeah.
on the Taylor Swift album. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Do you guys feel like it's important to have a producer tag in 2024?
Yes and no. Just depends who you're working with, I guess. But for yourself and for your own branding, yeah, definitely. It's better to have one, and then maybe sometimes not use it depending on the song that you make.
Do you
But
feel
yeah,
like it can ruin a song by having
it's,
tags on there?
depends. Well, actually, yeah, that's a good point. So with the music I've been putting out under my name, I've been putting out some like random genres, and honestly, not like hip hop and rap. One of them's rap, and then one of them's like dance holly, which I put my tag on and it worked. But yeah,
Yeah.
the other two were like kind of poppy and like indie rock kind of vibes. So the Maxine one and the one I did with Charlie and Ali. Yeah, I tried to put my tag on that. It just doesn't sound good at all. It's like I'm like,
Mhm.
nah, it's not good for the track if I put my tag on this.
I hear you. Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess on like a rock track, it's like LLB,
yeah,
LLB. It's like,
yeah. It didn't sound good. And I had to like speed it up, and it sounded trash. So maybe you need like 5 or 6 different tags for each genre.
yeah, I hear you.
Mhm.
I get,
Yeah.
I hear it. Like sometimes a track can sound messy if there's like 3 or more tags at the beginning. It doesn't sound
Mm.
like the most professional, but then in a way, it's like good for the producer because people hear those tags, man. Especially if it's something catchy. Sometimes people
Definitely.
even search
Mm.
them to see who it was
So who do you
Yeah.
think has the best producer tag
in the UK or worldwide.
worldwide?
There's so many good
The one
ones,
that used
man.
to always get me was Metro's.
Which
Well,
one?
which
Metro
one?
don't trust you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
You know the one that was on
Metro,
like,
which one?
shoot.
yeah. I used to always hear that one and remember that.
I'll tell you what, his newest one is the best. I don't know if I prefer his newest one or the old one, but especially on his last project when like the beat drops and you just hear young folks like, "Oh, Metro!" I'm like,
Mm.
Oh
it's
yeah,
gonna be a
yeah.
banger. Yeah,
T Keeps is catchy because he's got a real distinct sound as well. So you know, as soon
yeah,
as that tag comes in, you know it's gonna be some kind of like hard hitting, like heavy piano bass type of beat.
yeah.
So that's another one.
DJ Mustard.
Oh
That
What's
yeah,
his
was
one
a
again?
memorable one. Huh?
What's his one again?
It's like Mustard on a beat. Oh,
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
man,
yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah,
such a
yeah.
bite. If you're in a club and that comes on, like
Yeah.
it's gonna be
yeah,
like the vibe's gonna go crazy.
I've
Yeah,
always thought that, in my opinion, Chris Rich's one is like one of the hardest beat tags
yeah.
ever.
yeah.
His
When
is
you hear
sick.
This
that,
is cool.
I love
I
Chris
love
Rich.
Chris Rich. I think that's so sick.
Mm.
Yeah, he was telling me how he got that tag. I can't remember if it was on my podcast or another one. It might have been someone else's, but he was telling the story. He was just, like how everyone uses Fiverr and stuff, and they'll just search up like producer tag creators. He searched
Mm.
up, I think it was just like narrators, like someone who could read out a story, and he got one of
Mhm.
those people to do it instead, and then just gave them the text. I love Chris Rich, and she just did like a bunch of different ones, and
Mhm.
then he took one of those. Well, the one that he used was from that. It's just a bit different compared to everyone just searching for people who create producer tags
Yeah,
rather than someone who can narrate a story.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
for
That's a good
sure.
idea. More
The
unique.
Benny X one as well.
Benny X.
Working on dying. I think that's so genius when they tease it throughout the song.
Yeah,
Mm,
little
Yeah,
stutter.
it's almost like a
Yeah,
perk now.
yeah,
mm.
yeah. I swear, there's one beat where it does stutter throughout the whole beat, like
Mhm.
the sound effect. And then there's Wheezy. I like
Easy,
when Wheezy's comes in
yeah.
because like he'll do it just before the drop, and then like his 808s obviously they're hitting. Like, Wheezy
Well,
out
it'd
of
be
here.
cool to have a tag like Pharrell. Because it's
What's
not
that?
Yeah,
actually vocals, just like a stutter in the beat. It's like a
Oh, yeah,
doom,
yeah,
doo
yeah,
doo,
yeah.
doo doo.
yeah.
But then
Who
that I
else?
don't know if that would work for every single beat.
Yeah, I guess like if it's your style, then I guess it works for only you.
Yeah,
So
for a signature sound.
yeah. Who else is there?
I hear some producers saying that I think it was Timbaland, but I could be wrong, so I don't wanna mess that up. But whoever it was saying it can kind of make a track sound unprofessional. But then I think if it's obviously someone at that
Not
level,
versions.
was that? Oh, is that where I've heard it
Those
from? Did he say
versions,
that to
yeah.
you?
I
Like,
can't
take that
remember if
tag
he
out.
I can't remember if he said that, but the first thing he said when he heard one of my beats, he was like, first of all, take that tag out. And I swear I haven't honestly, like, I didn't really like that tag anyway, but I just kept it because
Mm,
it was my only proper tag. But I since got rid of that tag. I use 2 tags. I've got one which is a
right.
Soldier Boy voice. He says Ocean Gang. I use that
Mm,
in more of like my hip hop trap drill beats. And then
sick.
depending on the electronic song, not all electronic songs, I'll put in my tag which just says ocean, and that's from a movie.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess obviously it's easy for someone like Timberland to say that because he's so ahead in his career where it's like you don't need a tag, but for new producers it can be a good way to brand yourself and actually get your name out there, I guess.
Yeah, because Metro would say a completely different thing, wouldn't he? Like he'd be like, "Yeah, get a tag," and he's
Yeah.
just just as popping as Timberland was back in the day. So just depends, I guess.
Definitely. Do you
What
think there's
about
any
sorry?
risk for using tags from like movies or from different artists? I've never actually looked into the legal side of it.
I've never
I
I've
can
never
imagine
looked into it, but fuck it, man. Cross the bridge when we get there, kind of thing.
yeah, of course. I guess if they're
Yeah.
reaching out, like if Soulja Boy is hitting you up, like, bro, we need to talk, then it's at least you're in that position where you've maybe got a song that's blowing and he's wanting some
Yeah.
kind of credit for using his voice.
Yeah,
I wonder what the copyright is on all that kind of stuff, but there is producers that literally use movie quotes and stuff like that. Like you've definitely
yeah,
heard like
that's
the
true.
"Beam Me Up, Scotty," and I swear that's from like a movie,
Yeah.
or even
Pierre,
like
Cody's
Pierre
got
Bourne.
his Street Fighter one,
Pierre
doesn't
Bourne
he?
is a Jamie Foxx one, isn't it?
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah. Who else?
Yeah, what
It's
happened
not
to
like
that?
it's not from a movie, but ATL Jacob. I feel like he's got a sick tag, like a good tag.
Yeah, he's just catchy.
ATL Jacob.
Yeah,
Yeah, someone's like
I mean,
Who else do
a
you think's got a good one in the UK?
I like eights. I like 8
Yo,
beats is
8.
one. Yeah,
Yeah,
yo
that's
8.
good.
That's a cool tag.
Quincy, tell him. I think that's kind of smooth.
Mm.
Is Redfern got a tag?
Redfern, yeah,
I don't think I've heard his tag.
it's like the deep voice.
Oh, okay.
I'm
There
trying
was
to
one
think.
guy that came into a beat critique and he used to come in like every week, but I'd always know when it was his beat because his tag was like super memorable. I think it must have been taken from something because it was his producer name was, I think it was like prod by India or something like that, Indian, and the tag was like Native Americans, Indians, and when it said Indians, the beat dropped and it hit so hard every time. I was like, that's
Oh,
such a cool tag. Yeah, that was a cool one.
On the flip side, a lot of people have bad tags as well, especially like new producers who have just got like they've just recorded it themselves and it's not mixed right. It's just like crazy loud. It's just like Liam made the beat, and then it just drops into something.
Purchase your beats today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like those could definitely cheese up a track.
Yeah, definitely. I used to hate when you hear that "purchase your tracks today" tag on everything. There was
Oh,
that one,
yeah.
and there was
That
Curtis
was
King had
everywhere.
one that he recorded. It's like, did you buy this beat though, or something? And everyone was using it.
Oh, was that Curtis King? I didn't even know that
It
was
was
his.
Curtis King, yeah. He said something like, "Why did you pay for this beat though?" or something, and people just have
Oh,
it running.
yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
But yeah, there's loads of beats with that on it.
I'm dropping my first single January the 15th. So
January the 15th.
be on the
Sick.
lookout for
15th.
that. That's gonna be my first.
And that's on
shit.
all streaming platforms.
Yeah, on all streaming platforms. It's a little bit different from what people might know me for, but it's more like a deep house track. And then going to be releasing a few tracks after that. That will basically be the EP, and that's the first EP that I'm putting out of the year.
Yeah,
Sick, man.
but
Have
pre-save
you
it.
got yeah, I was gonna say, have you got a pre-save campaign or anything, or just somewhere people can save it?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess we could put the link in the description, maybe, or.
Yeah, definitely. We'll add it in there.
But Jay,
Oh,
your
my
project
goodness.
is out, right?
Yeah. Mine's already out. The Prick Tape Instrumentals Volume 5. But that was more like it was just a collection of beats that were already released. Maybe one or two weren't out, but most of them were just on my Type Beat channel anyway. Just sometimes I just like to, every now and again, I'll just kind of package my favorite ones from over the past like 6 months or something, and then put them together just for people to listen to on streaming platforms as well. But yeah, that one's already out. I haven't been pushing it like that much because it wasn't like a full project where I've kind of made everything specifically for that project, but it's just there for people to listen to. I had obviously had it on Instagram, just posted it on YouTube and stuff, but yeah, it hasn't been like a heavy focus, if you get me.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's
What
good to
about
have
you,
it
LOB?
out there, innit? Just as like a body of work.
Yeah, exactly that. Have you got anything
Yeah.
dropping?
Yeah, I've got a new kit dropping on the 26th of this month. It's going to be like a like a multi kit, like a multi drum kit. Got like a trap one in there, a new jazz, and then like an amapiano, Afro-y dancehall kind of vibe drum kit,
Sick.
and then like a drill one as well. So yeah, 4 kits, and then just gonna put them all into like one, like one bundle basically.
Nice.
So yeah, that's gonna drop on 26th, and then there's gonna be like a giveaway for it. It's just through Instagram, like you just tag a couple of producers, and then you can get a free copy of it, and you can get like a license for FL Studio Producer Edition. So
sick.
Yeah.
Looking
How about
forward
you?
to that, man.
What you got coming up?
In fact, I'm dropping a loop kit today. My plan this year was to drop a kit every month if I could, even if it's just something like a loop kit, analog lab bank, like whatever it is. Just wanted to drop something consistently. So yeah, got a loop kit dropping today, which is just like, it's a series called just In the Lab, because sometimes like I'll just cook up loops as part of my process, and then I might have loops from different genres and I'm not really sure what to do with them. So before I was kind of saving it up until I had like 20 drill ones, and then I'd do a drill loop kit or UK rap, something like that. But this one's just going to be like it's whatever I've been cooking up over the past month or so. So it's like a few different genres in there, so it's a bit of a mix. So I haven't really released anything like that before, so be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, man. We all appreciate everyone who's
boys.
tuned in, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Bye, everybody.